Shoplifting is on the rise across the country, and more businesses are taking tougher measures to deter thieves.
Welcome to News English Explained. Today's news is about the alarming rise in shoplifting across the United States and the extreme measures some stores are taking to combat it. This lesson will have 4 parts. First, we'll watch the story with subtitles, then we'll break it down and explain key vocabulary and phrases used. After that, we'll have a short quiz with 3 questions based on the story to test your knowledge. And finally, we'll review the story without subtitles to help you reinforce what you've learned. Let's get started.
Shoplifting is on the rise across the country, and more businesses are taking tougher measures to deter thieves. CBS's Elise Preston is in Los Angeles and reports at least one store is going to the extreme.
Nancy, the rippling impact of crime is changing how customers shop here. But this store is one of thousands across the country strained by a growing problem. Locked up and off limits, paper goods and potato chips now joining big ticket items behind plexiglass at this Los Angeles area Rite Aid.
And I was like, why is it locked up like that?
The Compton drugstore taking a dramatic step to combat shoplifting. Nearly everything in the store is restricted, so anyone looking to purchase items must call an employee to open up a case.
It's sad that things are this way now.
In a statement to CBS News, Rite Aid said they are testing a range of product protection solutions as they are seeing a higher level of brazen shoplifting.
The issue that is front and center in the consciousness of so many Californians.
The state's governor recently created an organized retail crime task force. So far this year, it's made over 1,000 arrests. California's campaign against shoplifters is just a snapshot of a struggle nationwide. 15 states have created task forces, and a bill in Congress is calling for the Department of Homeland Security to establish a centralized national effort. The growing problem cost businesses more than $122 billion in 2022, and a Forbes survey shows the majority of small businesses have been forced to raise prices. The crime's delivering a blow to consumers' pockets. Retail theft is also to blame for stores changing their hours and what they carry in stock. Nancy, in the most extreme cases, about a third of the nation's major retailers have shut down stores because of theft.
Let's dive into the details of the story. The news anchor begins by reporting that shoplifting is becoming a growing problem across the country, causing many businesses to take tougher measures. Now, let's break this down. Shoplifting is the act of stealing items from a store without paying for them. In this context, the word tougher measures means that businesses are implementing stricter policies or actions to try to stop shoplifting. When we say taking tougher measures, we mean they're responding to a problem with more force or security. You might hear this in other contexts, like a government taking tougher measures against crime, meaning they are becoming stricter. For example, the city is taking tougher measures to reduce street violence by increasing the number of police officers. The anchor then mentions that Elise Preston is reporting from Los Angeles, where at least one store is going to extreme measures. The phrase extreme measures means actions that are more drastic or severe than usual. In this case, a Rite Aid store is going so far as to lock up ordinary items like paper goods and potato chips behind plexiglass. Going to the extreme is a common phrase that means taking things as far as possible, beyond what is normally done. For example, the coach went to the extreme by making the team practice for 8 hours straight before the big game. Getting back to the story, the news continues with a customer who is surprised by the sight of ordinary items like chips being locked up, saying, "Why is it locked up like that?" When something is locked up, it means it's secured behind a lock to prevent access. Normally, high-value items like electronics are locked up in stores to prevent theft, but here, even small items are being locked up because shoplifting has become such a problem. The word restricted is used to describe how nearly everything in the store is off limits, meaning people can't just grab what they want anymore. The word restricted means limited or controlled. For example, the company restricted access to its building after hours to ensure security. The news anchor continues to explain that people who want to purchase these locked-up items must now call an employee to open the case. This means there is an additional step just to buy regular goods, which makes shopping more difficult for the average customer. This shows how much shoplifting is impacting the way people shop. Moving on, Rite Aid released a statement to CBS News saying that they are testing a range of product protection solutions because they've seen a higher level of brazen shoplifting. The phrase "a range of" means a variety of different solutions. For example, the teacher introduced a range of activities to keep the students engaged. The word brazen means bold or shameless. When the news says brazen shoplifting, they mean that the thefts are happening openly, without fear of getting caught. Imagine someone walking out of a store with stolen goods in broad daylight without trying to hide it. For example, the protesters made a brazen attempt to storm the building despite the heavy police presence. Continuing with the story, we learn that shoplifting is a front and center issue in the minds of many Californians. Front and center is an expression that means it's a main focus or something that is highly important. For example, climate change has become a front and center issue for world leaders. To fight this growing issue, California's governor has created an organized retail crime task force. Let's break this down. Organized retail crime refers to groups of people who plan and carry out shoplifting on a large scale, often stealing items to sell them later. A task force is a group of people, usually from law enforcement, who are given a specific mission to deal with a particular problem. So, an organized retail crime task force is a special police unit designed to fight organized shoplifting. For example, the city's drug task force made several arrests last night during a raid on illegal drug operations. The story mentions that the task force has already made over 1,000 arrests this year. The word arrests refers to the act of taking people into custody because they are suspected of committing a crime. For example, the police made several arrests after the bank robbery. Next, the news reports that California's efforts are part of a larger, nationwide struggle. Nationwide means across the entire country. For example, the new law banning plastic bags was implemented nationwide. 15 other states have also created their own task forces, and a bill in Congress is calling for the Department of Homeland Security to establish a centralized national effort to fight organized retail crime. Centralized means controlled from one central place. For example, the company decided to create a centralized office to manage all operations. A bill in this context is a proposal for a new law. For example, Congress is debating a new bill that would raise the minimum wage. Toward the end of the story, we learn that this growing problem cost businesses more than $122 billion in 2022. Next, we learn that this problem is impacting not only big companies but also small businesses. According to a Forbes survey, most small businesses have raised their prices as well. The news mentions that these crimes are delivering a blow to consumers' pockets. This is a metaphorical way of saying that the theft is costing customers more money. A blow means a hit or strike, and pockets refer to the money people have. So, when we say something delivers a blow to consumers' pockets, we mean it makes them spend more money. You could use this phrase in other contexts, like, the new tax law delivers a blow to middle-class families' finances. Finally, the story ends by mentioning that some major retailers have shut down stores altogether due to theft. The phrase "shut down" means to close or stop operations completely. For example, The factory shut down after 20 years of operation. Some businesses have also changed their store hours or what products they carry in stock. The phrase "in stock" means available for purchase. For example, the store has run out of the latest iPhone, but they should have more in stock next week. Now that we've gone over the key points of the story, it's time to put your knowledge to the test with our short answer quiz. The best way to learn is to use the vocabulary in real sentences, so let's get started. Now that we've gone over the vocabulary and phrases from the story, it's time to test your understanding with 3 short answer questions. After I ask each question, feel free to pause the video and take a moment to answer using the vocabulary we just learned. It's a great way to practice. Ready? Let's begin. First question: what measures has Rite Aid taken to combat shoplifting in Los Angeles? Pause the video now and think about your answer. All right. The answer is, Rite Aid has locked up nearly all items in plexiglass cases, so customers need to ask employees to unlock them to make a purchase. This was done in response to rising incidents of brazen shoplifting. Second question: how has the growing shoplifting problem impacted small businesses, according to the story? Go ahead and pause the video to answer.
Great.
The answer is, many small businesses have been forced to raise prices because of the financial loss caused by shoplifting. This has a direct impact on consumers' wallets and has led to changes in store operations. Final question: what is the national response to organized retail crime, as mentioned in the news story? Pause the video now and take a moment to respond. The answer is, the national response includes the creation of task forces in 15 states to combat organized retail crime, and there is even a bill in Congress calling for a centralized national effort by the Department of Homeland Security to address the problem. Fantastic work! Quizzes like these help reinforce the vocabulary and concepts we've learned, and practicing them in sentences really strengthens your understanding. Now, let's watch the news story again, this time without subtitles.
Shoplifting is on the rise across the country, and more businesses are taking tougher measures to deter thieves. CBS's Elise Preston is in Los Angeles and reports at least one store is going to the extreme.
Nancy, the rippling impact of crime is changing how customers shop here. But this store is one of thousands across the country strained by a growing problem. Locked up and off limits, paper goods and potato chips now joining big ticket items behind plexiglass at this Los Angeles area Rite Aid.
And I was like, why is it locked up like that?
The Compton drugstore taking a dramatic step to combat shoplifting. Nearly everything in the store is restricted, so anyone looking to purchase items must call an employee to open up a case.
It's sad that things are this way now.
In a statement to CBS News, Rite Aid said they are testing a range of product protection solutions as they are seeing a higher level of brazen shoplifting.
The issue that is front and center in the consciousness of so many Californians.
The state's governor recently created an organized retail crime task force. So far this year, it's made over 1,000 arrests. California's campaign against shoplifters is just a snapshot of a struggle nationwide. 15 states have created task forces, and a bill in Congress is calling for the Department of Homeland Security to establish a centralized national effort. The growing problem cost businesses more than $122 billion in 2022, and a Forbes survey shows the majority of small businesses have been forced to raise prices. The crime's delivering a blow to consumers' pockets. Retail theft is also to blame for stores changing their hours and what they carry in stock. Nancy, in the most extreme cases, about a third of the nation's major retailers have shut down stores because of theft.
That's the end of today's lesson. Thanks for listening to News English Explained. Don't forget to subscribe and join us every day for more lessons like this. And here's a challenge. Try to use one of today's vocabulary words in a sentence.
See you next time.